I'm not exaggerating when I accuse the Liberals of putting Canada on a road to destruction. Because if we allow Trudeau to implement his globalist vision, Canada will eventually cease to exist as a distinct nation. We have to reverse this trend if we want to make sure that we and our children still have a country that is like Canada right now, with its values and its unique identity intact 20 years from now.
Thank you, Maxime.
Let me move on to another argument. The main argument that is presented in favor of immigration or mass immigration is the economic one. Immigrants bring their skills, their entrepreneurship, and their dreams. They fill manpower shortages, and our society ages, and our workforce declines. This makes our society richer, younger, and more dynamic. So, this is certainly true, but only to some extent. It depends on the kind of immigrants we welcome. Immigration is actually very costly for governments. There's all the government programs to manage it, of course, but a large cost is the fact that immigrants pay on average about half as much income taxes as other Canadians, but absorb nearly the same value of government services. So, a study from 2011 put the cost to taxpayers at roughly $6,000 per immigrant, for a total annual cost of somewhere between $16 billion and $24 billion.
Wow.
$24 billion is a lot of money. 8 years later, and with a much higher level of immigration, the cost can only have gone up. One reason for this is that immigrants generally have lower wages than non-immigrants. But another key reason is that the proportion of immigrants who come to Canada because they have the right skill based on their education, work experience, and knowledge of an official language is not very high, and it has been dropping under the Liberal government. Right now, only about 55% of newcomers are selected through the economic program. The rest come through the family reunification program or are refugees. But even that 55% does not tell the whole story. It consists of the principal applicants and their immediate family. If you remove the spouses and children, only 26% of all the people who come to Canada every year are economic immigrants. And they are coming here because they fulfill our economic needs. If you are not grasping the significance of this, let's look at it from another side. It means that 3/4 of all immigrants who come to Canada are dependent. They do not have the right qualifications that we need, may not master one of our official languages, or are too young or too old to work. These people do not contribute very much or at all to our economy. But they cost, and the cost of that is very huge on our social services.
Yep.
Canadians are a compassionate people, and we should be. But at what cost? Are Canadians happy to subsidize 74% of our current immigrants? I think it is a lot. 74% of them are receiving subsidies from taxpayers.
Not fair.
If the main objective of Canada's immigration policies is to fulfill the economic needs of our country, it's an obvious failure. And it won't be fixed by simply increasing the total number of immigrants. That will cost us even more. Another justification we often hear for increase of immigration is that we are an aging society and we need immigrants to reverse this trend. However, demographic studies have shown that this is a myth. Newcomers are, yes, a bit younger on average than Canadians, but not enough to have a noticeable impact on the rate of aging. The Liberal government is making matters worse by increasing the number of parents and grandparents accepted under the Family Reunification Program every year from 5,000 to 20,000. This, of course, is an easy way for them to pander and buy votes among immigrants' communities, but again, it defeats the purpose. I can understand why immigrants will want to bring the rest of their extended family here, including older ones who will benefit from our healthcare system. But we cannot be the welfare state of the planet. Canadians. Canadians know that the government funding is limited, and we already fall short of caring for our own people here. We have long waiting lists for surgeries and so many other problems to solve here first. Another economic downside of mass immigration is that it inflates housing prices in our big cities. More than 41% of all immigrants to Canada settle in Toronto and Vancouver, which have some of the least affordable housing among big cities in the world. There are, yes, other reasons for these sky-high prices, of course, including zoning laws and monetary policy. But lower immigration will bring demand down and allow more Canadians in their cities to afford a house. Arguments in favor of reducing immigration levels are rarely discussed. It's time to break down the taboo and having a real debate. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Finally, there is the issue of refugees. There are horrible cases of wars, persecution, and human rights violations in the world, with the result that there are about 25 million refugees. It is absolutely tragic. I encourage Canadians to do what they can to help through private organization. But the role of the government, my duty, my moral obligation must be to first help those in need among our own population. Justin Trudeau, however, sees himself as some kind of a world minister already, managing a file in a world government. And so, in 2018, Canada welcomed more resettled refugees than any other country, more than the United States, a country with 10 times our population, and as many as all the European countries. In addition to this, we have had to deal with tens of thousands of illegal migrants crossing our border over the past 3 years. Accepting all these refugees will cost Canadian taxpayers billions of dollars. The UN Global Compact for Migration, which the Liberal government signed last year, aims to normalize this kind of situation and to make it easier for millions of people to move to Canada and other Western democracies.
Should have came with a check.
What is going on exactly? What you will expect, the Liberals have not lost control of our borders. They are deliberately attempting to erase it. Giving all these considerations and principles, here are the policies that the People's Party of Canada proposes to implement if we form the next government.
Well, you mean you will, then you will.
The first policy, immigration levels. Canadian society cannot successfully integrate 300,000 immigrants and refugees every year, as the Liberals and probably also the Conservatives are planning to do.
Yep.
This is equivalent to adding one Nova Scotia to our population every 3 years. Or one Manitoba every 4 years, and packed the majority of them in a few crowded cities like Toronto. Support for immigration will continue to diminish, and social tensions are likely to rise if we continue doing this.
No.
We need to slow down. People's Party government will substantially lower the total number of immigrants and refugees we accept every year from 350,000 a year to between 100 and 150,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what.
People see the land size, but they don't see our population. We're not a big
So
country.
yes, between 100 and 150,000, depending on economic and other circumstances.
Wow.
Second, Second, multiculturalism.